What's up guys, it's T.Aubrey. Welcome to my Lil Uzi Vert song bracket. Basically how this is going to work is I've selected 64 songs out of their discography. I've put them all together in a bracket, randomly facing off against one another, and the goal is to find the best Lil Uzi song at the end. This bracket is heavily inspired by another channel called Hivemind. They do a lot of brackets on their channel, among other stuff. They're really funny, really entertaining. I'll put their channel in the description. Go show them some love, it would mean a lot. Also, last week I did a Lyrical Lemonade music video bracket where I did the same thing, same concept, and we found the best Lyrical Lemonade music video at the end. So go check that out if you haven't watched it. I appreciate the response on that video. This is a new type of content for me, so it really meant a lot. I enjoy making this kind of stuff and I want to keep doing it, so I hope you enjoy this one as well. Go ahead and leave a like for me, subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. I have a Patreon in my description as well as merch. Those are both great ways to support the channel if you'd like to. That all being said, let's just jump right into this. I tried to stick to mostly official releases and more of their mainstream stuff just for the sake of doing a bracket. Uzi has a ton of leaks and unofficial releases that I really enjoy that I would have loved to put on here, but tried to make it as concise as possible and use songs that most people would know. I did put some leaks in here and some unofficial releases or SoundCloud exclusives just to make it a little more fun and also put people onto some music they might not know about. The first matchup we have is Baby Pluto, the first song off of Eternal Atake, and Chrome Heart Tags, another song off of Eternal Atake.
Whole lot of hoes, whole lot of men. Yeah, whole lot of clothes, nigga be stealing my sweat. I don't ever wanna talk about it. I don't ever wanna see you. Everybody, they be changing now. Now you see with the cheese do.
This one is a little interesting. I really enjoy Baby Pluto. I think it's a great opener to Eternal Atake. I remember clicking on this song for the first time, EA Eternal Atake, being such a heavily anticipated album. It seemed like it had been teased for like 5 years. I think it was actually only like 2. But I just remember being so ready for it to drop, and it was so highly anticipated, and it just seemed like he was never gonna drop it. And then he finally did it, just kind of on a whim as a surprise. And I remember not knowing what to expect and being very pleasantly surprised. It didn't feel like a departure from things that Uzi had done in the past, but it felt kind of like an entry into a new era. And I think it's a great song overall. Chrome Heart Tags, on the other hand, I think the Chief Keef production is legendary and very interesting. I think that Chief Keef's production is very distinguishable and unique. You can't really get production like his anywhere else, and I think that Uzi's energy on a beat like that is perfect. I think it's like a match made in heaven, and I find myself revisiting Chrome Heart Tags a lot more than I do Baby Pluto. So for that reason, I'm going to move Chrome Heart Tags forward to the next round. All right, next up we have Buy It, which was a SoundCloud exclusive, and we have Celebration Station, another song off the second half of Eternal Atake.
Nowadays got a side chick on side chick. They keep hacking my iPhone. Too much guap, bands, bellow, foreign, 10. She ignored that man, fucking with me, handstand.
I think that I'm gonna have to go with Buy It. Buy It is a much more unique song. I think it was made during a time when Uzi was really finding their sound and kind of honing in on what they would continue to create, at least in this era of their music. And I think since it is kind of a gem, it's probably a song that a lot of newer fans don't know about, and it still holds up to this day. I think for those reasons, I'm going to go with Buy It. Celebration Station is a great song. I think it's pretty catchy, but when I think about EA as an album, Celebration Station is not a song that comes to my mind first, and I don't find myself listening to it a ton. Even if I listen to EA, I feel like I might even skip over it about halfway through. I feel like it sounds very similar to Bigger Than Life, which I think directly follows this track on the track list, and it just doesn't stand out as much to me. So I'm definitely gonna go with Buy It. If you haven't heard this song, it is pretty old. I believe it came out in 2016. It's got the cover with Virgil on it, and yeah, you should go listen to it. It's a great song. All right, moving right along, we've got Demon High, Uzi's entry into kind of a pop punk vibe, just released as a single. And we have 7 AM, which is a track on Love Is Rage.
I feel the demons coming out of me. Like, oh goddamn, that's the bitch that I want. Oh goddamn.
I am almost 100% sure that 7 a.m. is the first Uzi song that I ever heard, and I want nothing more than to be able to go back into that moment of time and feel what I felt when I first heard it. Now that Uzi's been around for a while and I've been such a fan of him for so long, I can't remember a world where I didn't listen to Lil Uzi. This, at the time I heard it, music like this wasn't really being made by anyone other than Uzi, in my opinion. Similar stuff was being made, but he just had his own vibe to it, and it was the first time I was exposed to it. So 7 a.m. really holds a special place in my heart. I feel like it's a very unique song, and I feel like it holds up to this day. Demon High, a lot of people I know don't like, a lot of Uzi fans don't like this song. I know he kind of made it on the tail end of like the pop punk revival that I think we're just getting over now. I don't by any means think it's bad. I don't also really think it's great, but I think it's a pretty good song, and I'm glad that we got that from Uzi, and I think he's really good and went about making that type of music very genuine, especially in a time where like a lot of the people making like pop punk and like being a part of that whole revival just seem a little corny and disingenuous, and I feel like Uzi attacked it from a very genuine place. Curious to hear if we'll hear anything else like this off of Pink Tape if that ever comes out, but ultimately I'm gonna go with 7 a.m. I feel like it's a better representation of who Uzi is as an artist, and it's just a better song in my opinion. Next up we have Pretty Mami off of Love Is Rage 2, and we have Enemies off of Love Is Rage.
Got no friends next to me, enemies to go. Rad Simmons on my feet.
Kind of an interesting matchup. From a mainstream perspective, Pretty Mami's probably the better song. If you were putting someone onto Uzi, maybe Pretty Mami would be a safer song to show them just so they could catch a vibe. Enemies, however, I think is not quite as catchy, but it's just really good. I think Uzi demonstrates a lot of technical ability and at least how he raps, especially since he's kind of been grouped into being a mumble rapper since his beginnings, and I feel like this is a great song that just kind of shows off that he does have some technical ability and he can rap. Like, he's really rapping on this song, and I think it's pretty impressive regardless of your opinion of him. For that reason, I think that Enemies is a better song, and I feel like it's more true to Uzi. Pretty Mami is a great song too. I love the like electric feel of the vocals, and I kind of do hate to see it go so early, but I'm gonna go with Enemies, move that forward. All right, next up we have Feelings Mutual off of Love Is Rage 2, and we have Uzi's collab with Nigo on Heavy.
I'm living life just with a curse before I go into hers. Told you that I love you first. I don't think they ready, and I know she know me. I push foreigns like they Chevy.
Heavy, I feel like got a lot of hate and was very underwhelming to a lot of Uzi fans, especially it came out in a time where we weren't really getting a lot of music from Uzi. This is pre-Red and White, and I think people were kind of starved for music for him and maybe felt a little let down. I think Heavy's a pretty good song. I enjoy the music video a lot as well. Uzi's take on drill I think is pretty interesting, and I'd love to kind of hear him experiment with that sound a little more, but I wouldn't say he felt 100% comfortable, and that song was just a little, maybe just didn't have a whole lot to it. Feelings Mutual, on the other hand, is a pretty energetic song. I think the production's fairly unique, and I just would definitely revisit Feelings Mutual a lot more over Heavy. So for that reason, I'm gonna move Feelings Mutual forward. All right, next up we have Low Main off of Eternal Atake, and Boring Shit, which was part of Love Is Rage 1.5, which was like a little 4-song EP that Uzi dropped in the middle of the 2 Love Is Rages.
Chopstick came with a large low man. As he clipping it, nigga, I ain't got no end. I said, bomb ain't pocket feel fresh, romaine. Getting more money than that nigga that's selling weight. I can hear y'all, loud radio, heavy bass.
Boring Shit is another song where I feel like you get a little more of Uzi's technical ability. He's never really been on a beat like this since, and I feel like the song is a lot more unique and it's kind of more special because of that. And I feel like it's just a more entertaining song to listen to. Low Main, while I think it's a good song and fits very well into that EA era, I'm gonna go with Boring Shit. All right, next up we have Moon Relate off Eternal Atake, the deluxe version, Uzi vs. the World 2. And we have P's and Q's off the first Uzi vs. the World.
Hey, I ain't got nothing from the pain. All of these guys the same. I told y'all, so I made it mine. Yeah, I told y'all.
This one's really tough. I remember listening to the leak of Moon Relate a ton when I found it. I would just put it on repeat and listen to it all day long. Uzi's flow is pretty dynamic, and his melodies are pretty dynamic on this song. It's very interesting. I love his like high-pitched kind of almost squeakiness on it. I just really love his energy on the track. P's and Q's on the other hand is legendary. P's and Q's I feel like is more of a staple, so I think I'm gonna pick that one. Definitely more of a staple of Uzi's music, and I feel like it's a better representation of him. Moon Relate is a great song, and I'm also sad to see this one go so soon, but I'm gonna move P's and Q's forward. All right, next up we have Woke Up Thankful, which was a SoundCloud exclusive released alongside Grow Up and Miss Cleo. And we have I'm Sorry off Eternal Atake, kind of the song that shifts the vibe of that album midway through.
Now I be slamming them doors, now I be counting them rolls. Article all up in Vogue, shop at the store when it's closed. I'm sorry for everything I ever said.
I'm Sorry, I feel like it's pretty underrated. It might be one of my most played songs of that album, and I do love it. Woke Up Thankful, on the other hand, is so unique. The beat on that song is insane. I don't feel like I've ever really heard a beat like it, and it has such like a build up to it that's very playful and intense, and it just like makes me really happy. I love listening to this song. I don't know, something about the vibe is so unique to Uzi. I don't think that anyone else on earth could make a song like this and have it hit the same. It's one of my favorite Uzi songs of all time. I wish it was on Spotify. I think everyone should go listen to this song. It's really good. I love it a lot. And for that reason, I'm going to move it forward. All right, next up we have Grow Up, a song that I was just talking about that came out alongside Woke Up Thankful and Yes Sirski. Yes Sirski being off of the deluxe version of Eternal Atake.
I got bank in my pocket, no hoes on your roster. You niggas, y'all is imposters. Fuck nigga came in this house. I ain't panic, no, I ain't hide. I ain't know the bitch was your bride.
This one's pretty easy for me. Probably gonna be Grow Up. Grow Up, like I said, coming out alongside Woke Up Thankful, kind of had a similar vibe. It's just part of the same era. I'm pretty sure he dropped all those songs at once. I don't feel like you hear him on beats like this very much. I just feel like he was really in his bag, and everything about Grow Up especially just felt so effortless. I feel like this song is much more representative of Uzi as an artist. Yes Sirski, I don't think he's bad by any means, but I don't listen to it a ton. I'm not crazy about the 21 verse. It also feels like more of 21's song, in my opinion. If I was putting someone onto Uzi, Yes Sirski wouldn't probably even be in my top 80 songs I would show them. So for that reason, I'm moving forward, Grow Up. Okay, next up is Over Your Head, a single release with Future, and Myron, a heavily anticipated song that people were begging for to get an official release.
Everything I said went right over your head. VVS, I need a vest, I need me, act my diamond.
This is where I might lose some people, especially hardcore Uzi fans. I'm gonna go with Over Your Head. I think Over Your Head is my most played song of all time on Spotify. I've listened to that song so many times and I love it. And every time I listen to it again, I'll play it on repeat for like the whole day. Something about the melody, Uzi's delivery, is so incredible and catchy to me that I can't get enough of it. And the Future feature is beautiful as well. Myron is a really great song. It's another song I really love, and I hate to see it go so early in the matchup, but I really think Over Your Head is just a better song. There's something about that song, and I can't really tell you what it is, but I love it so much, and I'm gonna move it forward. All right, next up we have High Roller, a song off Uzi vs. the World, and then we have Bigger Than Life, another song off of Eternal Atake.
Wake up every day, know that I am blessed, yeah, counting on my cake. I done made so many millions, ain't nothing to think about. And she fuck with me because I am the one that still come back even though I made it out.
This one's pretty easy for me. I'm gonna go with High Roller. I feel like that song is more identifiable with Uzi. He's over Molly Raw production. I love it when they work together. I love like the synths that Molly Raw uses, and I feel like Uzi fits perfectly over them. And I feel like even though Uzi hasn't really been on a lot of Molly Raw's production recently, I feel like those like synth sounds are so intertwined with what people know Uzi for, and I feel like this is a little bit of an underrated song. Bigger Than Life, on the other hand, kind of had the same thing going on as Celebration Station. I don't feel like it sticks out as much when I think about the album Eternal Atake. High Roller is just a better song, so I'm going High Roller. Next up we have The Way Life Goes, huge song off of Love Is Rage 2, and we have Silly Watch off of Eternal Atake.
That's true, that's true, that's right. She sippin' one wet and yeah, I swear it get her wetter. I came in with a new 40 Glock. Fuck on your bitch, make that hoe want a milli rock.
This one is super easy. I don't even feel like there's a lot to say. It has to be The Way Life Goes. That song is really beautiful. It's just so catchy. The sample is great. The way Uzi kind of reinterprets it and brings a little bit of a different spin to it is phenomenal. I think it's like a really great song that anyone could get into, even if they don't like rap that much or they're not a fan of Uzi. I think this song is undeniably good. So I'm gonna move it forward. Silly Watch is a great song as well, but it just doesn't stand up to the way life goes. So sorry, Silly Watch. All right, next up we have Futsal Shuffle off of Eternal Atake, and Venetia also off Eternal Atake.
Are you serious? I swear my money is serious. Okay, all my checks, I just be clearing it. I ain't never trust no bitch, I ain't never trust no man. Yeah. Pull up in a brand new Porsche, followed by a matte black van.
This one's a little bit tough just because Futsal Shuffle I think had more of a cultural impact definitely than Venetia, and was also just like a bigger deal in general. I wouldn't say this song is hyperpop, but the production's kind of hyperpop-esque, and I feel like a lot of people who didn't know what hyperpop was heard this song and kind of got introduced to the genre a little bit. And I feel like the dance that went along with it and it going sort of viral on TikTok, you know, really helped cement this as like a moment in Uzi's history. On the other hand, Venetia, I feel like it's just a much better song. I love the sample flip from the Travis Scott song way back. I love what Uzi reinterpreted it as and the energy that he brought to it. It has a standout line that I've always enjoyed about treating these Diors like they old Vans. And I think it's just kind of a beautiful song. And I do love Futsal Shuffle. I tried to learn the dance at one point and it was unsuccessful. So that might be part of it too, but I'm gonna go with a Venetia. Next up we have Trap This Way, another song off of EA Deluxe and Erase Your Social.
We got all the fun. Trap it this way. We got all the ones. Shake it this way. Like flex on you haters. Hi haters. This is my world.
Trap This Way is a great song, but it's Erase Your Social. That's a legendary song. The production on it is crazy. Love the beat. Love Uzi's energy on that song. It probably took me 2 years of listening to this song to realize that it's incredibly repetitive, and I think that really says something. Such a great vibe. Perfect Love Tape, I think, is an underrated project in Uzi's discography when compared to everything else, and Erase Your Social is probably the best song from that project. So that's why I'm moving that one forward. All right, next up we have Rhonda, also off the Perfect Love Tape, and Sideline Watchin', which is also off the Perfect Love Tape. This one is tough. I like both of these songs, and I feel like for some reason they are a little similar. They might be back-to-back on the track list. I'm not sure.
Get knocked down, act like you never lost. Come back and win like you're Ronda Rousey. Like you're Ronda Rousey. Pat your wave down for you see your man. Oh no, now y'all mad.
They're both so catchy. Rhonda is more of a light, kind of airy, playful song. I feel like it's a little more like relaxing and calm. Come back and win like you Ronda Rousey. It's just like a little more of a chill song, and I appreciate that vibe. Sideline Watchin' is a little more aggressive. It's almost like two sides of the same coin. I love the flow on Sideline Watchin' as well. I was almost gonna pick Rhonda, but I think I'm gonna go with Sideline Watchin'. I feel good about that. Next up, we have 7 Million off the Perfect Love Tape and Loaded off of Love Is Rage 2, the Deluxe.
Might need a better do. Low wave for time to go buy no Prada, the better shoes. My diamond ain't frozen. Ooh, pocket loaded. Diamond chain they glowing. Ooh, and they showing.
I remember listening to the leak of Loaded a lot, and like I wanted nothing more than the high quality official release to come out because the DJ tag on like the leaked version was so long and annoying and bad, but I would power through it because I really liked Loaded and I liked the beat a lot and it was just very catchy. 7 Million on the other hand, I haven't listened to as much. I think is probably a better song. I really like the Future feature. I love the charisma between the two of them. I think that was their first song together, like officially. Yeah, all that being said, I think it's 7 Million. I'm gonna move 7 Million forward. I'd rather listen to 7 Million than Loaded. Already moving over to the other side, and let's see what we got. For our first matchup, we have I Can Drive, Alfa Romeo V6 W5 or something off of Perfect Love Tape, and we have the Watch This remix.
Getting money, I'm a spaz out. Drive a Rari with the ass out. Drive a Rari with no tags now.
So this is kind of a funny matchup. The Watch This remix is obviously Uzi's latest song at the time of this recording that has been officially released. The original song has not been officially released, which is very strange and interesting that they would release the remix before the actual song. The obvious answer is I Can Drive legendary song. I love the little intro where there's like a low pass filter. I heard that's a lie. Yeah, it's just so good. I love little like special moments like that on songs. That like honestly makes a song for me. The rest of the song is great, but something about just how it's all put together is really wonderful to me. Watch this remix. I don't think it's bad. I know a lot of Uzi fans were kind of mad about this one getting the official release when you compare it to the one that hasn't even gotten an official release, which I also prefer, but it is in this matchup definitely a worse song. So I'm gonna go with I Can Drive. Next up we have Of Course, which is the first leak of this bracket, and we have Strong, which is an official release on a Zaytoven project. This is tough. Of Course is really in the running to be one of my favorite Uzi songs of all time. I wish it had an official release. I hope it gets one day. I doubt it will since it's been a leak for so long. Strong, on the other hand, is a song I used to listen to a ton. I love it. It's so catchy to me. It's really great. But I think I'm gonna have to give it to Of Course. I love that beat and Uzi's energy is so good. I don't know, if I had to pick a song to show someone or like listen to in the car, it's always gonna be Of Course. So I'm gonna move that one forward. Sorry to see Strong go, but it is what it is. All right, next up we have kind of an underrated, maybe unknown song, Slayer, and we have a very popular song, 20 Minutes. Slayer is a TM88 release, I'm pretty sure, and 20 Minutes is obviously a song off Love Is Rage 2.
She's in love with a rager. She's a rock star, everybody said don't date her. I met that girl right up at my show. Left her man in the crowd on the floor.
20 Minutes is interesting because I felt like it was kind of a sleeper and became very popular a couple years later once TikTok kind of started getting really popular and the song took off on TikTok. I remember not loving the song initially, and I think it's had kind of an interesting story to where it's now still, I'm pretty sure, in Uzi's like top 5 most popular songs on Spotify. I think it's fairly unique, but when you compare it to Slayer, which I think is a lot more of a unique song, and it's Uzi on like TM88 production, I think I'm gonna have to go with Slayer just because it is underrated and it shouldn't be. And 20 Minutes is definitely not overrated, but again, if I had to just pick one to listen to right now in the moment, I would listen to Slayer. All right, next up we have Run It Up, which is another leak, and we have Come This Way.
She chill with me, she said that's a touchdown. She can't believe she gon' touch now. Smoking at her, get bust down. Boy, I get so fly that I could have been a stylist. Undercover T and go yard, I'm on my wallet.
This one's kind of tough for me. Come This Way was a leak up until it got released officially on the deluxe version of Eternal Atake. I remember listening to the leak all day long. It was like my favorite Uzi song. I loved the flow and the melody. It was just great. Run It Up, on the other hand, is amazing. It's beautiful. It's a crazy song structurally, and I don't know, it just has a lot of crazy one-liners I love, and it has almost, the vibe of it is just like sort of foreboding. It reminds me of a robot like stomping through a city. And Come This Way is just a song I think I've heard too much. The magic's kind of lost for me, which is my own fault, but Run It Up is legendary, and it has, I'm pretty sure it has a music video. I don't know, it's like a 7-minute long song. It feels like it's 2 minutes. I never get tired of listening to it. And it at least had a snippet of a music video shot by Lone Wolf, I'm pretty sure, which is also legendary in its own right, that ended up getting taken down, I think, for copyright because it's never got an official release. It's Run It Up. It just has to be Run It Up. If you guys have not heard Run It Up, it's amazing. All right, next up we have Ready, Set, Go, a really old Uzi song that I believe is a SoundCloud exclusive. And we have Sauce It Up, I think the 3rd or 4th track off of Love Is Rage 2.
That's your new girl, yeah. Had her last week. Felt like yesterday. Oh, sauce it up, sauce it up. Do too much, ain't enough.
Sauce It Up is one of my favorite songs off Love Is Rage 2. I was on the phone, yeah, with playboi Carti. I was in the Lamb, he was in the Rari. I love that line, I love that whole song. Ready, Set, Go, on the other hand, is such a great song. It's really maybe one of my favorite Uzi songs of all time. There's a part into it that I look forward to every time I listen to it because I love singing along to it, where he goes, that's your new girl, yeah, had her last week. Felt like yesterday, what a fast week. That's like one of my favorite things to sing ever, of any song ever. So for that reason, Sauce It Up is a great song, but I'm going Ready, Set, Go. Next up, we have Final Fantasy off of the Red and White EP, and we have No Sleep Leak, another song off of Love Is Rage 2.
Gotta fall back and really just know your part. Gotta watch out for demons and Kingdom Hearts. Better keep up, yeah, that's a fun. Hit your girl with a darts.
This one's a little tough. I think I know what I'm gonna pick, and it's gonna be Final Fantasy. I feel like that song is super unique, and it's been one of Uzi's releases that's come out recently that I've really enjoyed and have had on repeat a lot, even to this day. No Sleep Leak is great, but it almost feels like a continuation of Sauce It Up, and it really is a great song. I mean, there's really no songs of Uzi's that I don't like, but Final Fantasy is a lot more unique, and Uzi just really shines on it. Those like yells, screams he kind of does in the middle of the song that are like sort of like a bridge, they just sound so good, and I could listen to them all day. So it's Final Fantasy, moving that one forward. Next up, we have YSL, which was a song off of Love Is Rage 1.5, and Safe House.
Boy, you better have a lot of patience, yeah, cause you can't move time. I ain't got no real problems if I do AK and that.
This is so tough. Safe House is a great song, and it really fits so perfectly on Love Is Rage, and it complements all of the tracks. As I mentioned before, I got very into Uzi when I heard 7 a.m. and Safe House was kind of the next song that I really latched onto when I started listening to Love Is Rage, and I've listened to it so much, and I really love it, and I feel like Uzi shines on that song. I feel like he's got a little bit, you know, he's showing off his technical ability just with rapping a little bit on that song, and it's really catchy, and it's definitely a vibe. I like the music video too. I like kind of the griminess to it. YSL though is great. I love that song. I'm gonna pick YSL because I feel like it's improvement. He's more confident and he's more in the zone on YSL. So I'm going YSL. They're both great songs. I hate to see Safe House go, but it's definitely YSL. Oh my God. These matchups are so hard. We've got Mood, which I don't believe is an official release. It's Uzi on another TM88 beat. And then we have Love Scars, which is a part of Love Is Rage 1.5.
Fuck these niggas cause they always been extra. All these diamonds on me. So much water on my neck, my needle bowl of some. So many different girls, I got a load of them.
These songs are so equal to me in terms of my enjoyability and probably how many times I've listened to them. I love both of these songs a lot. I just don't feel like one of them stands out very much over the other. I'm gonna go with Mood just because that's what my heart is telling me. I'm gonna move Mood forward. I hope you guys can respect that decision. Love Is Rage 1.5 already has 2 songs moving forward earlier in the bracket, so let's just go with Mood. All right, next up we have Lotus off of the deluxe version of EA. And then we have Paddock, which is a song that came out alongside Over My Head.
I put up in a Lotus, not a Lotus. 392, switch it out with a K. I get a million right here on my lap.
This one's pretty easy. I'm gonna go with Lotus. I feel like Lotus is sort of a precursor in terms of how it overall sounds to Cigarette off of Red and White. I feel like the vibe and mood are kind of the same, and I love Cigarette, and Lotus seems like a precursor to that. Patek was a little underwhelming, especially when compared to Over My Head, at least in my opinion. So I'm gonna move Lotus forward. Okay, next up we have Canadian Goose off of Uzi vs. The World, and 2 off of Love Is Rage 2.
Literally, I'm cold as fuck. Cold as what? Ay, I need Canadian Goose. I ain't gonna lie, I got money and a power.
These are killing me. I love both of these. It's Canadian Goose. It's Canadian Goose. I think I sort of like 2 more, but it's less of a song. A lot of it's like a little intro, which is a callback to 7 a.m. Canadian Goose is more of a cohesive song. That's why I'm gonna pick it, but 2 is so good. I love both of these songs, but we're going Canadian Goose. All right, next up we have Diamonds All on My Wrist off the deluxe of Love Is Rage 2, and That Way off of the deluxe of EA.
I don't fuss, you get bust. Got red bottoms, these ain't chucks. I want her, I want her. If I wake up, don't make no money, that's sad, yeah.
I'm going Diamonds All on My Wrist. That song is pretty unique. I love Uzi's inflection and delivery. It kind of reminds me, obviously this song predates me or a lot of people even knowing about Yeet, but the inflection kind of reminds me of Yeet and how Yeet goes about things. I think Yeet takes it to a whole nother level, but I feel like Uzi's inflection and performance on here, I don't even think it would be a stretch to say that Uzi has inspired Yeet in some of his delivery and inflections, and maybe even this song in particular. Also, I do want to go up and remind you guys, or just fill you guys in on a fun fact. Yeet has a song called Ecstasy, where he references the song I was talking about earlier called Run It Up by Uzi, which is a leak, not an official release. I wouldn't say a ton of people know about it unless you're a huge Uzi fan, where he directly references the lyrics and says, you heard what I feel like Lil Uzi, you heard what I said, little bitch, which is something that Uzi says on Run It Up. I'm just using that as a fun fact. I think it's very interesting, and I've never had the chance to talk about it. So here's my chance to talk about it. Anyways, Diamonds All On My Wrist is winning that one, and we're moving on. And now we got New Paddock, Batik, I'm probably saying this wrong. And then we have What's Up by Uzi and Future.
Yeah, got go ahead and go get a mink. Yeah, new finger rings it like a set. Yeah, you a bad bitch, then we can link. What's up? I'ma make sure they remember me, cause I walk around with a lot of enemies.
Uzi and Future are great together. Obviously, they have a whole project, and I love their energy working with one another. I feel like they play off each other beautifully, you know, the whole Baby Pluto thing. But it's New Paddock. Uzi's really great at making really long songs feel like they're not so long. And I love that about him, and I feel like What's Up, while it is kind of a sleeper on the deluxe version, I feel like it's one of the better songs on the deluxe version of EA. I feel like New Paddock is just a better song overall, and just a better representation of Uzi. So moving that one forward. Oh man, okay. We have Miss Cleo, which was a SoundCloud exclusive that came out alongside Woke Up Thankful and Grow Up. Then we have How to Talk, a great song off of Love Is Rage 2.
Now my crib got a pool. Now a nigga living cool. No, I'm gon' ball, yeah. No way I can fall, yeah.
This is really tough. I love How to Talk, but it's Miss Cleo. I know I'm picking a lot of the like SoundCloud exclusive stuff over some like album releases. I'm just gravitating more towards music that feels more authentic and a little more genuine, and I feel like you get that sometimes a lot more on unofficial releases, whereas like album songs or singles especially are more geared towards the average person, the average listener, the average fan. So How to Talk might technically be like a better song, but Miss Cleo is too good to not pick, and I feel like it's more raw and interesting, and definitely doesn't have as much of a mainstream appeal, but it's just a better song, and I really encourage you to go listen to it if you haven't heard it. All right, next up we have Bean Kobe off the deluxe version of EA, and we have EXO Tour Llif3.
Dominate here like water, ooh, star beam, yeah. Rockstar life be calling. I don't really care if you cry. I don't really shouldn't have a lie.
I'm really afraid of EXO Tour Llif3 winning this bracket, and and then I'm afraid of it not winning because I don't want it to win. Either side of that is not good because I feel like it taints the bracket. EXO Tour Llif3 is a phenomenal song. It's probably overplayed at this point, but it's damn near a perfect song. And I mean, that's highlighted by the fact that it's up against Kobe. And that was a song that I had heard the leak of and was highly anticipating. These days, I probably listen to Kobe more than EXO Tour Llif3, but it's EXO Tour Llif3. Yeah, this is tough. I mean, I think it is EXO Tour Llif3, and I just kind of hope it doesn't win the bracket because I want something more interesting to win. I don't think it'll win. I'm going to move it forward, though. EXO Tour Llif3. Being Kobe is great, though. All right, next up we have Money Longer, legendary, quintessential Lil Uzi song. And we have Just Wanna Rock, way more recent and kind of a departure from what Uzi's normally known for. It's like a Jersey club banger type of song.
Money got longer, speaker got louder, car got faster. I just wanna rock. Body out of ya.
I love Just Wanna Rock. I think it's a great song. It's really grown on me a lot, but it's paired up against Money Longer. The clear answer here is Money Longer. So that's moving forward. Don't have a lot to say. Molly Raw production, Uzi feature on Molly Raw production, legendary. Those synths are so good. That video of Uzi performing the song before it was out and all the fans already know the lyrics because he posted a snippet before his show, legendary. Money Longer is a great song. I also love the music video. It's Money Longer. All right, we're at the end of this side of the bracket and we're almost done with the first round of picks. We've got P2, a sequel to EXO Tour Llif3, and we have You're Lost off the Perfect Love tape.
I don't really care cause I'm done. On the real love is not fun. I'm so fly, you fly a kite on me. Stand on my money, he got some height on me.
This is tough. I feel like these songs are kind of pretty equal in my mind in terms of enjoyability and like my just general love for them. P2 is a lot more personal. I feel like it's Uzi reflecting a lot on things that have happened in his life since Tour Llif3 and like since he's become even bigger and you know, kind of proved his longevity. You're Lost, though, is a great song. It's very catchy and I think fairly underrated in terms of Uzi's discography. I'm sitting here thinking about it and I think I'm gonna go with You're Lost just because I do appreciate the sentimental value of P2 and I do like the song and I find it very catchy, but it's kind of a sequel and it's very similar to Tour Llif3 in a lot of ways, and there's just no reason, I feel like, for it to move forward on this bracket. And I feel like if I had to pick a more quintessential Uzi song, it would be You're Lost. So there we go. That concludes the first round of picks. All right, so we're starting on round 2. Back over on the other side of the bracket, we've got Chrome Heart Tags and Buy It. Wow. It's Buy It. Buy It just feels more Lil Uzi to me, and I honestly feel like I'd rather listen to Buy It over Chrome Heart Tags. Buy It just has a very special quality to it. Chrome Heart Tags, I hate to see go. I love that song, but it's Buy It. All right, next up we have 7 a.m. versus Enemies. Wow. These are off the same album. Enemies is a much more dynamic song, and out of these two, more traditional like rap song. 7 a.m. is a lot more experimental, I feel like, and it's just more catchy. Enemies, I'm having a hard time. God, I'm having a hard time with this one. I'm gonna go 7 a.m. It's just too good. Moving on, we've got Feelings Mutual and Boring Shit. Damn, these are so tough for me. I love all of these songs so much. For this one, I'm trying to picture what I would rather listen to in the car, like as I'm driving, and I think I'm gonna go with Feelings Mutual. Boring Shit has a time and place. I don't feel like I can listen to it all the time. I do respect it a lot, and I love the overall vibe of it, and I love kind of the difference of it in comparison to the rest of Uzi's discography, but I think I'd rather listen to Feelings Mutual most of the time, so I'm moving that one forward. Wow, these matchups are insane. P's and Q's versus Woke Up Thankful. I'm going Woke Up Thankful, and I can't tell you why. I just am. You're gonna have to trust me. I just like it better. Woke Up Thankful is such a pleasure to hear. I love it when I put my SoundCloud likes on shuffle and Woke Up Thankful comes on. It's like I experience so much joy. So I'm going Woke Up Thankful. All right, we got Grow Up and Over Your Head. Over Your Head I gave so much praise to, and I do love it. And like I said, it's my most played song on Spotify ever. And Grow Up obviously isn't on Spotify, but I still think even if it was, I would have listened to Over Your Head more. But I think that Grow Up is a better song. And it's more interesting, the production's better, and I kind of appreciate the genuineness of the song. It feels more in the moment than Over Your Head, and you can kind of feel that emotion in the track, and that's what I like personally. And this is my bracket, so I'm going Grow Up. All right, next up we have High Roller and The Way Life Goes. I hate to say it, I love High Roller, but it's The Way Life Goes. It's such a perfect song and it's so catchy, and there's nothing I could say. There's just nothing more to say. So that's where we're at. All right, moving on. We got Venetia and Erase Your Social. This one's pretty easy. It's Erase Your Social, catchier song. Venetia's beautiful, but Erase Your Social is quintessential Uzi Vert. It's like a landmark song to me of his discography. So that's why I'm moving it forward. All right, we got Sideline Watching and 7 Million, both off the same tape, Perfect Love tape. I think it's got to be Sideline Watching. I feel like that song's more interesting and unique, and I feel like Uzi's just really going in on this song, and I'm going to move it forward. I would rather listen to that song right now than 7 Million. All right, we're moving back over to the other side of the bracket. And our first matchup over here is I Can Drive versus Of Course. This is tough, man. I think I'm gonna go with Of Course, though. I feel like Of Course is a step above I Can Drive. I kind of actually feel like they're similar songs a little bit in terms of production and like the energy Uzi brings to each of these songs. I feel like they're sort of similar, but I feel like Of Course is an improvement on pretty much every front. So for those reasons, I'm going, of course. Got Slayer and Run It Up. It's Run It Up. Run It Up's a better song for sure, in my opinion. Slayer is great. Slayer definitely has its time and place. I put that song on repeat a lot, but Run It Up is just so impressive, and it's kind of a beautiful song to me, I can't lie. I love how everything was executed, and I would do just about anything for an official release of this song. All right, moving on down, we got Ready, Set, Go versus Final Fantasy. A lot of these I'm just really going based off like what my heart is telling me, and when I look at these two songs, my heart is telling me Ready, Set, Go. I just feel like it's so good and catchy. It's more memorable. In 20 years, I'm gonna remember Ready, Set, Go more than I will Final Fantasy. So I'm moving it forward. All right, next up we have YSL versus Mood. Mood is a lot more catchy. Mood is a song that I could like stare at my ceiling and daydream listening to. And YSL is more of like a song I would listen to at the gym over Mood or something. Right now, again, I'm just going off what my heart's saying. I think it's Mood. I'm gonna move Mood forward. As corny as this sounds, I feel like I've connected more emotionally with the vibe of that song, and that's why I'm moving it forward. All right, next up we have Lotus off of EA Deluxe and Canadian Goose, Uzi versus the World. I'm gonna go with Lotus just because it sounds a little more experimental to me. Canadian Goose is kind of a classic Uzi track and I love it a lot, but Lotus is really great too, and I think I would rather revisit Lotus than Canadian Goose most days. I really love how that song kind of overall aesthetically sounds and is presented. Canadian Goose maybe sounds a little more like traditional hip hop, which is not bad at all, but I appreciate it when Uzi is a little different, a little more outside of the box. So I'm gonna go with Lotus. All right, Diamonds All on My Wrist versus New Paddock, whatever. I'm gonna go with New Paddock or Patek. Diamonds All on My Wrist, kind of like what I was saying on the last matchup, sounds a little more traditional, like hip hop. I think it's a little different for Uzi, but it's just kind of like a rap song. New Paddock is so unique and exclusive to Uzi. I don't think anyone else could make this song. That's why I'm gonna move it forward. All right, we got Miss Cleo versus EXO Tour Llif3. God, man. This is such an issue in the bracket because it's such a big song and it's so legendary, and I don't feel like it's overrated. I feel like it's very properly rated. And it's like one of the most streamed rap songs of all time, right? I think in the top 10. And Miss Cleo's like nowhere near that in terms of popularity, but I enjoy it almost equally, if not maybe a little bit more. I know I say that like every matchup, but this is really tough for me. I feel like the right thing to do is move EXO Tour Llif3 forward, just because I just feel like I have to. And I hate to say goodbye to Miss Cleo, but it's got to be EXO Tour Llif3. I hope it doesn't win. We've got Money Longer versus You're Lost. It's Money Longer. Do I really have to say anything? It's Money Longer. You're Lost is great. I love it, but it's Money Longer. All right, we're kind of flying through this thing. We're moving already back on over to third round. We've got Buy It versus 7 a.m. Wow, another tough one. I don't feel like anybody could make either of these songs other than Uzi. I feel like these are both so exclusive to Uzi, and I don't know how to pick one. I feel in my heart like the answer needs to be 7 a.m., and that might be just because I have a special connection to it being my first exposure to Uzi and just loving it so much. And I mean, if I had never heard 7 a.m., I never would have heard Buy It. So I'm gonna move 7 a.m. forward. All right, next up we have Feelings Mutual versus Woke Up Thankful. This one's pretty easy for me. I'm going Woke Up Thankful. Again, that's just one of my favorite Uzi songs ever. The energy is unmatched. Paired up against Feelings Mutual, I just can't imagine a scenario where I would pick Feelings Mutual. So that's that. We've got The Way Life Goes and Grow Up. This is, I think, fairly obvious. I love Grow Up. I hate to see it go, but it's got to be The Way Life Goes. That's just a beautiful song. I don't have a lot more to say about it. I can only give it some praise. And Grow Up is a great song. If you have not heard, go listen to it. It's incredible. But, you know, just for the sake of this bracket, I feel like it's got to be The Way Life Goes. So I'm moving it forward. Okay, we've got Erase Your Social versus Sideline Watchin', both off the Perfect Love tape. I feel like a lot of the matchups have been on the same albums or projects. Sideline Watching is great. I feel like it's underrated overall, but Erase Your Social. It's got to be Erase Your Social. It's just too good. All right, moving back on over to the other side. We've got next up, Of Course versus Run It Up. I cannot believe these songs are paired up against each other. They're both leaks, and they're like my favorite Uzi songs ever. I can't even express how tough this is for me. I'm trying to think of it in a scenario of I can only have one and the other one disappears and I can never listen to it again. I'm trying to put that much on the line to see if it can force me to make a decision. I think if I'm looking at it from that perspective, like the other one disappears, I'm gonna pick Of Course, because Of Course is something I'd just rather listen to. I feel like the mood is a little lighter. Run It Up feels a little bit darker in a scenario that I can only listen to one for the rest of my life. I think I would go with Of Course. It's more fun. I'd have more fun listening to it. I gotta go Of Course. All right, next up we have Ready, Set, Go versus Mood. I had an initial gut reaction just to move Ready, Set, Go forward, so that's what I'm gonna do. Mood is a great song, hate to see it go, but Ready, Set, Go. Again, really just for that last like verse, I just love that part so much. I love singing it. I love how he says, yesterday. It's just music to my ears. All right, next up we have Lotus and New Patek. This is tough too. I'm really at a loss. The feeling in my heart is New Patek. I feel like the hype around that song was a lot bigger. I feel like that's what most people would choose. People will probably think this matchup's crazy. People will probably think it's crazy that Lotus has gotten this far, but I think the hype around this song, and I'm remembering kind of how thrilled I was to listen to it on repeat when it came out, you know, makes it the obvious choice here over Lotus. Lotus is a great song. Again, I appreciate that it sounds a little experimental. You know, that's always a good thing, but I'm gonna move New Patek forward. Okay, damn. What is with these matchups? Okay, we have EXO Tour Llif3 versus Money Longer. We have Uzi's like smash hit, EXO Tour Llif3 versus like what I would consider Uzi's like underground smash hit. It's just too bad. It's too bad what I have to do with anything that's up against EXO Tour Llif3 is I have to move EXO Tour Llif3 forward. I don't feel like I have a choice because I'm just thinking about everything it's compared to, and like Money Longer is so good. It's such a good song and it's quintessential classic Uzi. You can't have an Uzi discography without Money Longer. But all of that is true in regards to EXO Tour Llif3, and EXO Tour Llif3 is also legendary just for what it is. So it has to be EXO Tour Llif3. I feel good about that, I think. But I already did it, so we're rocking with it. All right, we're getting closer to the finals here, so let's move on back over to the other side. We've got 7 a.m. versus Woke Up Thankful. Once again, I gotta go with Woke Up Thankful. It's a lot more unique. It's Uzi, I think, in a more creative, it's a more creative song. I think Uzi's in a more creative headspace making this song, and I would love to highlight it over 7 a.m. I think if I was putting someone onto Uzi, I would put them onto Woke Up Thankful over 7 a.m. Everything he's really great at and everything that makes him unique shines through more on Woke Up Thankful than it does on 7 a.m. So I'm going Woke Up Thankful. All right, next up we have The Way Life Goes versus Erase Your Social. What am I supposed to do in scenarios like this? There's no way for me to pick. I don't know how to pick. The Way Life Goes is a bigger song, and it's beautiful and catchy, and I feel like anyone can get into it. It's so accessible. If I got in my car right now and went for a drive, and I could pick to listen to one of these songs before the other, I would pick Erase Your Social. So that's what I'm going with. It's just a banger. All right, moving back over to the other side, we've got Of Course versus Ready, Set, Go. I'm gonna go with Of Course. I'm surprised that this is not as hard for me as some of the past matchups recently. So I'm going Of Course. It's a better song. It's everything Ready, Set, Go could be, but improved upon. So that's where we're at with that. All right, moving on. We got New Patek versus EXO Tour Llif3. Look, guys, it's EXO Tour Llif3. I don't know what to say. Sorry. It's basic. I'm sorry, but come on. It's EXO Tour Llif3. Come on. All right, moving back over. Wow, we're down to the final four. We've got Woke Up Thankful versus Erase Your Social. So what's interesting about this is I like Woke Up Thankful better. I think it is better. I think it's more interesting, and I think it's everything Erase Your Social is just better. But I feel like Erase Your Social is more accessible to like someone who hasn't listened to Uzi, but that's not what this bracket's about. This is my bracket, so I'm going Woke Up Thankful for sure. Moving back over, we've got Of Course versus EXO Tour Llif3. I don't know. I love Of Course. I love that song. It's really just so amazing to me. And EXO Tour Llif3 is EXO Tour Llif3. What a wild matchup I never would have imagined. Again, I'm going to go back to the car scenario here. If I got in my car right now and went for a drive, which of these songs would I play first? It's Of Course. So I'm moving Of Course down. Sorry, EXO Tour Llif3. You made it super far, but it's just the way it had to be. All right. We're in our final matchup. This is not what I would have expected. We have Woke Up Thankful, a somewhat official release. It's a SoundCloud exclusive, versus Of Course, which is a leak. These songs are like so equal to me in terms of enjoyability and in terms of like overall execution. And I think they're both very creative and unique. I think I know what I have to do. And what I have to do is follow my heart and go with Woke Up Thankful. I think that Woke Up Thankful is amazing and underrated. And I think that as beautiful as Of Course is, it just doesn't feel right over Woke Up Thankful. So going Woke Up Thankful, that's the winner. I feel fairly good about that. All right, and there you guys go. That was my Lil Uzi Vert song bracket. Thank you guys for watching. It means a lot to me. This was a very interesting bracket. There were a lot of matchups I wouldn't have ever imagined. There was a lot of tough choices, and I don't think I would have picked Woke Up Thankful as the winner at the beginning of this bracket, but there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. I had a lot of fun making this. I love talking about music. Uzi is like my favorite artist ever, so this was really fun. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with anything I said. Feel free to make fun of me for any of my choices. I hope to come to you guys next week with another bracket. I've got a Patreon in the description as well as my merch. Great way to support the channel. Please subscribe. Please like the video. Please share it. It helps a lot. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys have a great day, and I appreciate you watching. Love you guys so much. Peace.